Good Shabbos, good Shabbos. A good Shabbos, good Shabbos.
So once again, let us share a Dvar Torah L'Kuvit Shabbos on the weekly Parsha. But before I shall share a Dvar Torah, past few weeks, I asked my Talmidim, I asked all of you to daven for my mother, Moras Fradl Bas Leah. And now we just adjust the name, Moras Fradl Bas Rabbi Yonis and Binyamin HaKohen. So this week, in the beginning of the week, we got up from the Shiva. And from now on, I will be davening and learning Le'ilui Nishmosa Velezicha Hator Shar Imi Mairosi Moras Fradl Bas Rabbi Yonis and Binyamin HaKohen. So this week's Parsha is Parshas Toldos. The beginning of the Parsha, we learn about the Bechorah. And Yaakov Avinu takes advantage of Esav's desperation. Esav comes home from the forest, and he's hungry, and he's thirsty, and he begs Yaakov, Haliteini nu min ha'odam ha'odam hazeh. And Yaakov says, just a moment, let's do a deal. Sign this document, sell your Bechorah. Doesn't look right, doesn't seem right. Take advantage of a person's hunger and desperation to squeeze a deal out of him. And it becomes more baffling in the continuation of the Parsha when Yaakov dresses up and disguises himself as Esav to get the brachas. Is that Yaakov Ishtam Yoshev Oyolim? The special midah of Yaakov is emes. Titen emes liyankov. Is this the conduct of a ish emes? Whenever I learn this parsha every year, I say, we need to learn this parsha according to the Zohar. It's not about Yaakov. It has nothing to do with Yaakov. Yaakov expects to derive no benefit and no privilege, neither from the Bechorah nor from the brachas. The Zohar HaKodesh explains Bechorah and bracha are the same letters, just in a different seder, in a different sequence. Yaakov Avinu knows Beruach HaKodesh that the Bechor is the one that will get the brachas, and the brachas are designated for the Bechor, and that is why he needs the Bechorah. It's all about the brachas. And why does Yaakov Avinu need the brachas? Once again, it's not about him. Yaakov Avinu knows Beruach HaKodesh what these brachas are about. So the Zohar explains Yaakov was blessed 4 times during his lifetime. The most important brachas were the ones that he got instead of Esav. Bo'achicho b'mirmo v'lokach es birchosecho. And the Targum says, b'chochmesa. These are the most important brachas. And when Yitzchak at the end of this week's parsha sends Yaakov, go back to Lavan, to Padan Aram, Yitzchak once again blesses Yaakov. And in Parshas V'yetz, in next week's Parsha, Nigle Lev HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu blesses him when he's on his way to Padan Aram. And finally, the brachas from the Malach, Soroi Shel Esav, Vaya'ovek ish imoi, lo yeshalechacho, ki im beirachtoni. And the Zohar goes on to explain Yaakov for himself took the lesser brachas, the ones that are least significant and powerful. And the other 3 brachas he leaves to coming generations. We were redeemed and liberated from Golas Mitzrayim, and we were zochet to Beis Mikdash Harishon in the schus of one of Yaakov's brachas. We were zochet to the Geula from Golas Bavel and Beis Hashayni, Beis Mikdash Hashayni, in the merit of the other set of brachas. And the most important brachas, Bo'achichu b'mirmo, are still intact, and they are waiting. And only in the schus of these brachas will we be zoche b'meheru v'yameinu to the Geula Shalema. Yaakov understands, and he knows Beruach HaKodesh, the master plan of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And Yaakov knows that this is the destiny of Klal Yisrael. It is not about him. It is about the Geula. It is about Tikkun Olam b'Malchus Shaddai. It is about Ketz Hayamin. Yaakov knows this is the way it was meant to be. And that is the way we need to learn this parsha. But I do want to share with you an additional thought in Pnimiyus HaTorah. The Vilna Gaon and Rabbi Melech Menezhensk, two apparently opposites, but two giants. Rabbi Melech Menezhensk was second only to the Baal Shem Tov in the story of Hasidus. And the Vilna Gaon, no one was greater than the Vilna Gaon in his tzidkus and in his gaonis for hundreds of years. They both say almost the same words. Evan Shleimer from the Vilna Gaon. The Vilna Gaon writes, Iker chi yosoi shel odam beyolam hazeh b'shviras hamidos, ve'im lo yetaken midotav lamo lo ychayim. Life is all about shviras hamidos, breaking your midas. And the Gaon speaks about breaking, not only tikkun, shviras hamidos. Zettel Kotten Rabbi Melech Menezhensk the Noam HaMelech Ot Tet Zayin. Ha'odam lo nivra ba'olam elo kedei leshaber es hateva, to break his nature. And the Noam HaMelech as well speaks about breaking. The ultimate tikkun of a person and his dveikos to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, could he overcome his natural inclinations, his teva, his nature, leman kvod shemo yisborach. And that was the nesoyin of each and every one of the Ovis Hagdoshim. Avraham Avinu was the greatest Baal Chesed. And in Kabbalah, Sheves Sfiros, Chesed, Gvurat Teferes, is Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Rachmuna id kolon schusei de Yitzchak rachimo. Avraham was the greatest Baal Rachamim. He was put to test in Akedas Yitzchak to perform an act of ultimate cruelty, to slaughter your own son. Could he? Would he? That was an nesoyin of Avraham Avinu, the greatest Baal Rachamim, put to test, the ultimate act of cruelty. And Avraham passed the test. This is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants me to do. Yitzchok Avinu's nesoyin will come Eliosed Lavoi, Shabbos Daf Peites. The Gemara says, what will transpire at the end of days? Kodesh Baruch Hu turns to Avraham Avinu and he says, Chatu bonecho, and Avraham will say, Yamocho al kedusha shimcha. Kodesh Baruch Hu says, Avraham didn't know what is Tzar Gidul Bonim. Let's see what Yankov has to say. He experienced Tzar Gidul Bonim. Yankov responds the same way as Avraham. Destroy them. Yamocho al kedusha shimcha, and he turns to Yitzchak. Avraham is Chesed. Yankov is Teferes. And they were so angry. What would Yitzchak say? Pachad Yitzchak. Chesed Gvura Teferes. Yitzchak is Midas Adin. Avraham is Midas HaChesed. And Dafka Yitzchak is the one that'll say, no, no, no. In no way. Palga alai v'palga alach. I am willing to take upon myself their suffering and their pain. Just have Rachmanis on your children. Yankov Avinu is Emes. Tachles hu emes, tamtzit hu emes, titan emes li Yankov. And that was an nesoyin for Yankov Avinu. Does he know when need be, leman kvod shemoy yizborach, could he, would he, take the brachas b'mirma, as Rivka told him to do, and Yankov does. So that is the nesoyin of the Ovis Hagdoshim. Ha'odam lo nivro ba'olam ela lishborat hateva. Ike chayosoi shel odam biyolam hazeh b'shviras hamidos. Just let me tell you about my mother. Just one little act and one little midah. My mother was tachlis hu emes. She could never lie. She could never do or say anything that will remotely be defined as untruthful. She was the most honest, straightforward, and emistic person I knew. 17 years ago, she had a debilitating stroke. And we turned to Social Security, Bituach Laumi, to get support for disabled people. And she couldn't lose her left arm. She was paralyzed to the left side. She couldn't walk. And slowly she started using a walker. And Bituach Lami sends down a doctor and to just check her out. So we had an asking a macher to instruct her how to respond, what to say. First of all, he said, don't wear your sheitel because we don't want you to look too good. So wear a tichel. And she said, I never receive guests if I'm not respectable, if I'm not mechubed. Of course I'll wear a sheitel. And we tried to explain to her, Mommy, these are not guests. They're not coming to drink a coffee. They're not coming to visit you. These are professionals. They're coming from Bituach Lomi, from Social Security. She said, no. This is not what I do. And then it was explained to her she needs to say how hard it is and how debilitated and how handicapped she is and how the great difficulty. But she said, I'm feeling fine. What do you mean you're feeling fine? You can't use your left arm. But I do feel I'm getting stronger by the day. I'm feeling better. Anyway, they come to visit her. She looked great, relatively great for her age. And they asked her, how are you doing? And she said, I'm feeling fine. How's your left side? It's getting better by the day. And as you could just imagine, they turned us down. And they wrote a report. She looks good. She feels well. She's getting better by the day. And my mother had no regrets. No regrets. This is the way she feels. And this is what she will say. But like Yaakov Avinu, I think she lied once in her lifetime. And that goes back somewhat more than 70 years. When my parents finally left German soil, after Auschwitz, after the camps, after they get married in Fehrenwald, and my father was so busy and overwhelmed helping the Kloiser Megarebi, Moide Verabi, to breathe new life into the Atzamois Hayaveshis, those dried out bones. And when finally the time came, my parents wanted and needed to leave Germany as fast as possible. And my mother was the beginning of the 9th month of pregnancy, but they wouldn't let her on a plane. So she said she is in the 6th month. And that is how they got out of Germany and arrived to American shores. I think that was the very last time that my mother said something that wasn't true. So this is just one of the many things we learned from our great mother. And we do our best to pass this on to our children and grandchildren, to my family and to my Talmidim. Chaysamay shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu emes. Titein emes liYaakov. This needs a lot of chizik in our community and in every community. She should be a Melitzas Yosher. Have a beautiful Shabbos, all of you.